Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff, Neil Lennon and Tam McManus are all here with me. And here's what's coming up in today's show. Michael Beale admits Rangers have taken a backward step after a narrow 1-0 win over Motherwell.
It's a complete backward step after a forward step on Thursday.
Brendan Rodgers claims Daizen Maeda has the work rate of two players as 10-man Celtic toppled Livingston. Stephen Naismith insists Hearts can only be deemed successful if they win trophies ahead of their League Cup quarter-final.
If you want real success, and that's defined by winning trophies.
David Martindale is delighted as Livingston secure new ownership with promises of immediate financial assistance.
There's a new owner and it's got to be a positive for the football club because where we've been the last 3-4 years has all been great, and I'm going to be really honest there.
Now, with that takeover, Ruffy, I am going to put some money on that at the weekend press conference, David Martindale will come out and go, look, Newbley's not for sale now under any circumstances because he's been trying to punt him forever and a day, but I'm delighted they've got money in. Boy, did they need it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's affected the big man as well. I think he was very, very good last year, and then all this transfer talk appeared, and he hasn't been the same player. So obviously, I'll be having a word with him, and hopefully, he can get back to the form that he had. But yeah, I think any club, you look at every club, doesn't matter who it is, they're all in financial difficulty unless you've got a big spender who's going to come in and help you. Yeah, and Patrick Mullen caught up with David Martindale this morning.
I'm here at the Tony Macaroni Arena this morning speaking to David Martindale as Livingston have acquired a brand new majority shareholder of the club, that is Bay Cup Limited, fronted by John McElvogue, and it is fair to say that David Martindale is absolutely delighted by the news.
I don't really know any more than you guys, but what I will say is there's a new owner and it's got to be a positive for the football club because where we've been the last 3-4 years has all been great, and I'm going to be really honest there. It's been really, really difficult to start in the club. So have fresh impetus, a fresh skill set, a fresh skill set coming into the building, and hopefully upstairs aligned with downstairs and a wee bit of help upstairs for everybody at the club. I think it's a huge, huge positive for the club, and that's me sitting here. I'm not even bet these new orders of the new owner, whatever it is, I don't even know, but I just know it needed done, and the club, hopefully this is a step in the right direction, I'm sure it is.
And Livingston are preparing for their Scottish League Cup quarter-final fixture against Rangers on Wednesday night. Despite Michael Beale and the Rangers players being under immense pressure at this moment in time, David Martindale does not believe that this is something his side could use to their advantage.
See, to be fair, I don't really buy into all that. They just want to score an early goal. I would guarantee every one of these fans got a boot, will be Chuck Clapton and Chale. So that quickly changes. Goals change games at football. So I don't think it's something we can tap into. I don't think it comes into my team talking how we approach a game. So I think that swing, that momentum in terms of the crowd can quickly change when there's 55,000 fans at Ibrox and score a goal. So no, I'm not really something I'm going to try to tap into. If it happens, but it's not something I'm going to try and tap into.
Well, I'm sure even the Livingston manager would concede it's a tall order to try and take something from the League Cup against Rangers in their own backyard. They certainly weren't able to do it at the Tony Macaroni Arena, even against the 10 men of Celtic.
Yeah, I think he'll be disappointed. I think when Celtic go down to 10 men, they've got an hour to play, 1-0 down, you would think, you've got a real chance, opportunity to get something from the game. I think he spoke about it after the game, that he was disappointed the way they went about it. Didn't really create many chances, and Celtic ran out comfortable winners, but I think if you're game planning for Dave Martindale during the week, I think it's to try and keep it at 0-0 as long as possible. I think you've seen the reaction from the Rangers fans yesterday when they won the game. 1-0, they're not happy with the way the team is playing, they're not happy with the manager. So I think if you're David, can you keep it tight for 20-25 minutes and the fans start to turn, and then you maybe go into the game. But you'll be disappointed with that performance against Celtic at the weekend. Yeah, I mean, even at 11, Celtic looked so comfortable, Neil, and even at 10, I had that feeling as if they looked as if they could go on and score, again when they could be bothered.
No, I agree with you. I thought the Celtic were terrific, right from the first whistle. And, there's always that worry about a hangover from the European game, and obviously playing in a difficult environment on a difficult pitch, but I thought Celtic went about it really well. Davey was disappointed with performance. He's also disappointed, he felt, with his substitutions. They went with a diamond and they just played right into Celtic's hands. They kept getting down the flanks quite comfortably and dominated the game. The sending off, you think, might be a turning point, but it wasn't. You know, Celtic's midfield were really, what I saw for the first time in a long time, working really hard off the ball as well as on the ball. And then Maeda and Kyogo, they always had a real threat going forward. So they're starting to really look the part now, Peter. You know, despite all the injuries they've had, I think it's in the league 4 clean sheets in a row, despite all the talk about centre halves being out injured. So they're starting to, you know, really get their form going at the level that we expect them to. It's been, you know, it's always a difficult game for Livingston, but the takeover news, I think, is great for Davy because they've just had little or no budget to work with over the past few years. Yeah, and you mentioned there Maeda, Brendan Rodgers glowing in his praise of the Japanese forward because he certainly put himself about. This is what he had to say, obviously, on Maeda. It was a monumental win in terms of getting back in after playing with 9 men during the week. As I said to the guys, when you have Daizen Maeda, it's not like playing with 10 men. He does the running of 2 men. He's absolutely incredible, and I was so happy for him that he got his goal. Just off the back of that and picking up on what you said that you felt as if the midfield was actually starting to close down and play the way they had, you know, previously. Do you think it's now they're starting to understand what the manager wants from them? Oh, there's so much cohesion there and togetherness, and it looked a happy squad after the game. But you would be after, it was a really sort of comprehensive performance from start to finish, and no panic when they went down to the 10 men. And they looked really comfortable. Some of the football, speed of passing, you know, their passages of play were excellent, and the physicality was good. You know, it's always difficult against Livingston at the Tony Macaroni, but they handled everything that Livingston threw at them really comfortably. And now to the goalkeepers union. Yeah. Are you going to defend Joe Hart?
No, I don't. I don't think he can either. He just came out and totally misjudged the bounce of the ball. You know, he obviously thought it was going to come into the box a wee bit, but he'd committed himself. He's a big guy. He's not going to stop himself, and he was actually hoping that the referee might have thought it was him that was fouled. But I think we all seen it quite clearly that it was just a bad error. And everybody does it, you know. And the good thing for me is he holds his hands up, you know. He doesn't sort of hide it and try and make excuses. So that just shows you the experience he's got. But without moving away from the game, I thought the highlight of Maeda's game was a layoff to O'Reilly for his goal. I thought that was good foresight.
Yeah, absolutely. Before he gets slaughtered for missing it so close to the... Yeah, I know. I did actually watch something in another match. I think it was a St Mirren match, and I think it was a Younger miss from literally 2 inches off the line. Yeah. I mean, it was an absolute howler as well. But listen, it's even with some teams in Scotland, not only in Scotland, but Rangers win 1-0, and you could hear the boos from some fans. I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, I just think they were disappointed with the performance. I think that when you watch the game, you watch the highlights, you know, Motherwell, you know, controlled the game for long periods, and that is not going to be accepted at Ibrox, particularly, you know, at home for Rangers. I think that the jury's out on Michael Beale with a lot of supporters. I think a lot of supporters have made their mind up, Peter, about Michael Beale. I think he's got, you know, a big job on to turn those people around. He's got to win games. Listen, they won. You get a clean sheet, but I thought it was a disappointing performance. And on another day, I think that Motherwell could have got something out of the game. Late on in the game, I think you seen the foul on Tavernier, which I thought was pretty soft. I thought he was clean through the Motherwell player, and that was a big decision by the referee. So, listen, Rangers rode their luck at times, but they get the 3 points and they kind of stay 4 points behind Celtic. But they've still got to improve their performance, Peter, because that performance is going to lead to them dropping points this season.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of friends of mine, Rangers fans, are losing faith with him. Is he dead man walking, or is he walking the tightrope game by game? Is there any slack that's cut to Michael Beale on the basis of, you know, it's now his team. He picked them. They're all there. He's got to wait to see if they can gel. Is there anything like that, or is it just a case of you get the feeling that he could be one game away from?
Yeah, I think particularly in the league. I think in the league, I don't think they can afford to drop any more points before they play Celtic. I think it's December. I think they've got to stay on the coattails of Celtic. If they drop anything, I think he's going to be under real pressure. And as I said, I think a lot of Rangers supporters have made their minds up that he's not the man for the job, and he's got a big job on to turn those around.
It's a strange situation. This is what he said after the game in that 1-0 win over Motherwell.
I'm looking for more from this group of players. They know that. I'm looking for more from me and my staff as well. I take no comfort from winning that game of football today. I don't take one bit of comfort from that. It wasn't a game that I enjoyed at all. I don't think the players enjoyed it either. It's a complete backward step after a forward step on Thursday.
What do you make of that?
Just too negative for me. And Michael might be feeling it a bit. I think they've had a good week, Pete. You know, they've been a good team on Thursday night. It's always difficult, you know, playing Thursday, Sunday, or, you know, Champions League weekend. They beat a very good Spanish team. Good result. Gets them a good start in the group. They beat a very good Motherwell team, albeit what probably wasn't a vintage performance. But they'll be thankful for those 3 points later on down the line. And, you know, there is a general malaise at the minute around Rangers, and I don't know what people expect sometimes. They're looking for the result and the performance. You don't always get that, particularly after a big European night. Yeah. There's always a bit of a come down, and then you got to try and lift yourself again. But
you're an experienced manager, Neil. What would you say? Michael Beale is completely inexperienced. It's a total learning curve from him in domestic and European football. If you were sitting having a pint with him, what would you say to him in this whole situation? Not that you're likely to go for a pint with him, because obviously Ben Beckel is closed at the moment for the weather, but what would you say to him?
You got to enjoy the wins. You know, that's a good win for me, albeit the performance might not be great and the fans are impatient, wanting to see more. That to me, putting that out in the public domain is not a good look, you know, and the players will be looking at this going, come on, Gaffer, we just had two really good wins there, but you're out there saying this is not good enough, blah blah blah. And I get it to a certain degree, but that is really, you can say it in the dressing room, but come out and be positive. And I know people might shoot you down going, oh, you're talking rubbish, blah blah blah, but you have to, you know, enjoy the wins and take the positives from the wins. There was spells in the game where Rangers were good, but you have to remember Motherwell are playing very well. They've had a free week. They come with no pressure, and we get that a lot on Glasgow. Teams coming sometimes and sniffing a bit of blood and having a go, but they've come away with the 3 points and a clean sheet.
Did you feel as if sometimes you had to go into a press conference and try and control the narrative?
Oh, you do. 90% of the time. There will be times when later on down the line when you have set really high standards, and when the team doesn't reach those standards, you can come out and go, look, we weren't good enough today, we got the win. But it's too early for Michael to do all that yet, I think. I understand that he wants perfection, we all do, but there's no such thing. And a wise old bird told me once, you know, don't look for the perfect when the best will do. And the players have come away with a 3 point, and important, as Tom says, you lose any more points, you know, you're under massive scrutiny and massive pressure then. But I don't know, I just don't understand the way he's come out and been so negative about a really good win.
I love that statement that you've just made there, and I've got to press you. Please tell us who the wise old owl was. It's such a great line, isn't it? It's great. I've got it.
When I first got the job, you know, we won 3 or 4-0, and I'm talking after the game, well, we should have won by more, and he went, hey, calm down. You know, don't look for the perfect, the best will do. The players are great today.
That's a great line, isn't it, Ruffy? I mean, it's something psychologically, you know, somebody can offer you that little bit of insight, experience, and just put things, that for me puts into a sense of perspective what maybe Michael Beale should be thinking about this week.
Yeah, I don't think the public, and I'm putting us in this situation as well. I mean, we've been footballers, we know what it's like being a footballer. I don't know what it's like being a manager. I cannot comprehend how...
Yes, you do. You managed Glen Afton to the Junior Cup. Have you forgotten about that?
I'm talking about Rangers and Celtic. Your whole mind must be buzzing what way you go, what you do, because you've got to keep millions of people on board. You've got to come out, and they know with people like you, one wee snippet at a press conference and it's dead, you're dead, aren't you? You're hung. So you've got to know exactly when you go in there what you're confronted with, and I don't think there's enough people have been through that situation to realise how difficult being a manager is.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 Scottish Junior Cup finals and landed.
Did he have the sheepskin coat in that?
Yeah, but by the way, he was one of the hark to the old managers, which is, come on everybody, let's go out there and enjoy ourselves.
Big wrong manager.
And by the way, I'll see you then. I might not be out.
What was the game like?
Brilliant. And excuse me, Sir Tom, could you sign another cheque? I've seen another player.
Pep Guardiola of the juniors.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you were like, Robbie.
Brown envelopes galore.
You have to be a manager of the juniors as well. I'm talking about Rangers and Celtic, but the pressures at the juniors manager is just when you've got a player coming in a quarter final of a Scottish Cup tie, and his brother's wedding the day before, and he says, "Ruffy, I'll not let you down. I'll watch what I'm doing, I'll be fit for the game," and you're standing waiting at 2:45 in his car coming into the car park, and as he walks into the dressing room he's thrown up all over the place. And he goes, "I'll be okay, don't worry, I'll be okay. Just let me on the part." You put him on the part, hat trick, 15 minutes.
There you go. That's brilliant management.
Brilliant to actually think I'm still going to play him.
It's a memory of the 5 subs going, I can't believe this, he's playing him. And we're sitting here.
Brilliant, Ruffy. Anyway, listen, spare a thought for Stuart Kettlewell, because a lot of people thought maybe they could get something from the game, including the Motherwell manager.
Even when you look at towards the end of the game, and this isn't a criticism from me, I don't want people to take it that way, but when their goalkeeper gets booked for wasting time and they're trying to take the ball into the corner, I've not really seen that much here. I've seen a lot of games of football here and I've not seen that much, and I think that speaks volumes for our performance. But listen, I hold my hands up yet again that we have created chances and we've not capitalised on it. It's 2 weeks now, I believe, that we've not got what we deserved.
Yeah, and when you look and you consider the form
game he's lost away from home.
Well, I was going to say to you, the form they've been in as well. They've been up there with St Mirren, so you'll feel as if maybe that was an opportunity squandered.
Yeah, I think back to back defeats. After a really strong run, we were disappointed last night. Judging by the highlights, it looks as if Motherwell were worthy of a point. But as Lenny said, it's all about winning the game. They missed some opportunities. When you're playing Celtic, Rangers, particularly away from home, you've got to take those opportunities when they come. But I think Motherwell will be fine this season. I think they'll be pushing, for third or fourth. I think that's wide open. I think you look at St Mirren at the minute flying. Hibs starting to pick up, Hearts struggling, Aberdeen great result. I think it's wide open for those third and fourth positions.
Yeah, okay. You can give us your thoughts on it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button at PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, and of course, if you download the app, you'll get all the breaking stories at your fingertips, as well as some of those stories on the website, and you can follow us right across our social media channels, where of course you'll get all the latest breaking news. I'll say 99% of that breaking news is factually accurate. It's been 2 weeks since I've been on the show, and your man dominated the social media for all the wrong reasons.
He did.
Thankfully we are here now. You're back off holiday, Ruffy's back off holiday, the team's back together.
It is, and hopefully there's no misdemeanours today and no little accidents on the couch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I just clarify that was not...
Thank you.
It's definitely not what was portrayed in the media, Peter.
Yes, I saw your text and I thought to myself, he's kidding me. He's absolutely kidding me. I thought we were at the wind up, but nevertheless, you're here with us and we're delighted you're back.
I was going to say, you'll know when to do it.
Exactly. What we'll do is the minute that happens, we'll put Alison's face up again. Anyway, from Rangers and Celtic and their performances, of course, team of the weekend for me is undoubtedly Ruffy, St Mirren.
Yeah, right for the very start, getting an early goal. You could see the players were up for it, the fans were up for it. I thought some of Hart's defending was poor. I know they were blaming the goalkeeper for the first goal, but I thought it was the boy Kent, how he can afford to let that go by him. The boy Kent's in front of him and he just sort of steps back, unless the goalkeeper said leave it.
I wouldn't have thought so, would you?
No, but he did. The goalkeeper did hold his hand up and said, but if you're a defender, you've got to
deal with it. Yeah,
you can't let it get along the face of the goal.
I always think that the defender should have dealt with it.
But I mean, Hearts are getting through the same sort of a situation as a lot of teams are. Shankland was scoring goals for fun. well, whether it was penalties or whatever, you know, it doesn't even look like he had a chance at the end right enough, but he doesn't look as prolific. I don't know if it's because Boyce is back, Boyce is the main striker and Shanklin's doing most of the stuff outside the box.
Dropping too deep for me, Peter. Ruffy's dropping too deep.
They need to get it.
Shanklin, is it?
Yeah, he's playing wide, he's picking the ball up wide, he's trying to run in, so no, I thought it was a poor performance for Hearts, and I think they've got hard games coming up as well.
I'll tell you, never mind that, they had 3 goals chalked off. One of them I thought borderline.
Yeah, borderline. I thought that was unlucky. But listen, I think St Mirren ran out comfortable winners, and Hearts' away form would be a huge concern. I think away from home they've been really, really poor for a number of seasons now, to be honest. If you look through their record, St Mirren, listen, just keep grinding out results. Stephen Robinson's doing a phenomenal job there. They've got Hibs away during the week in the Cup, which is, listen, I think that Cup's wide open. I don't think Rangers are in any great shakes at the minute. I think if you're St Mirren, you're Hibs, you're Aberdeen, you're looking at that and you're going, what an opportunity we've got with Celtic out to go and win a trophy this season.
Well, I look back over the last 4 or 5 seasons. You could probably go back 10, 20 seasons in the Scottish Premiership, and the average is 37 to 40 points. That you're not, if you're above 37, you're not going to be relegated. You could potentially, if you're really unlucky, be in the playoff place. But 37 and above, you could look at and say you'll finish 10th. Right. He's got 14 points already. Now, Stephen Robinson. Oh. Now, this is Stephen Robinson after the game when everybody's raving about him.
My job's to live in the real world. We've started well, that's all it is. You know, it's a good start. We now go to Easter Road with an opportunity to get to the semi-final, and nobody will get too carried away. There's a group of boys that love working hard, love winning games together, which gives you half a chance. But I believe there's still things we can improve on. Our game management at times can be improved, and we obviously would like to take more chances than we are. But if we're creating chances, show that resilience, then there's no reason why we can't continue. But I'll let the fans enjoy it, let them dream, and I'll keep within the realism.
I think it's only a matter of weeks before they usually play the skids. The Saints are coming as the team's coming out. I'm almost certain the Europa League team will kick in at some point because they're playing great football. He deserves credit. What in your mind, because you know managers on a more personal basis, do you like him? What's he like as a person?
I like Stephen a lot. I thought he was terrific at Motherwell. He's very enthusiastic about the game. He's smart tactically. They're playing a new system this year, 3-4-3, that they work on rigidly, and he has them defensively well set up, but they're a threat. They've got a good midfield. I think he's recruited well, Peter. If you look through the team, Gogic is having a great time of it. O'Hara's a standout player for him, and he's got good strikers. He brought in McMenamin from Glentoran, who's Northern Irish international, so Strahan's having a great time. So there's a lot of confidence around the place, but he is very realistic about things. He knows that it's not going to last forever, but they're enjoying it. The club's bubbling. I think they'll fancy the game, Tom, on Wednesday away at Hibs. But that's a tough one to call as well, I think. But they made a fantastic start to the season, and you're right, it's all about momentum, points. I think there are things they can do better at times, particularly going forward. They score a lot of goals from crosses. But he's just a streetways manager. He has the players playing for him, and very humble guy as well.
Yeah, you look at the mix, and I think Neil highlighted something that in a team like that, you can't have all flair. You need a kind of a Gogic. You need somebody who's a wee bit of a noise up. I always look at him and think to myself, Gogic, should I put spread betting on a yellow card within 15 minutes? He's that type of guy. He likes a tackle. You need that. You need the mix of a Hara, a Junga I like as well.
Yeah, they've got a great mix of youth and experience. They've got legs in the team, and get up and down the pitch. The wee boy Greg Kilty's been excellent for them. Sits, plays in the middle of the park, can get forward and score a goal. Gogic I liked at Hibs. He played, I think it was during the COVID season he was at Hibs. I really liked him. He can play centre midfield, he can play centre back, he can play in a 3 at the back. He's very versatile, he's solid. So listen, they've got a great mix, seem to have a great team spirit, a great togetherness, and they're winning games, they're keeping clean sheets. So listen, as Lenny said, it's not going to last forever, but enjoy it while they can. It's wide open for 3rd and 4th.
The keeper made a fantastic save the other day as well. Was that from Shanklin, that one, where he just got a fingertip to it? That was a great save. So all of the parts are functioning, Peter. Ayunga is the striker, I really like him and all. He saw him in the first game of the season up at Easter Road, and I thought he was a real handful, like, you know.
I don't know how that goal was disallowed when he sort of bullied the boy off the ball and the referee gave a foul when he ran in and scored.
Oh, slightly, yeah.
I think the boy was sort of the defender was looking up to pass it back to the goalkeeper and he just get caught dillying.
I agree.
And I don't think there was a foul there at all. So and it was good that the Mirren manager comes out and doesn't make a meal of it. Now they've won, obviously, so
I would.
you won. You've won, so he didn't come out and not saying, "Oh, with this or that," but he just got on with it and took the win.
Yeah, Olasanya was his name, is the guy that I like.
Olasanya.
Yeah, should have scored as well. But nevertheless, they've got a lovely mix, and I think top 6 again.
Don't see why not. Look, they're not like, you know, they don't play a free-flowing football, but they are hard to beat. They're a really good unit. They've got a good structure about them. All the players know what they're doing. And I think, you know, he'll disagree with me, Steve, but they've got a little bit of strength and depth as well, you know, Peter. You know, they've got good options at centre forward and certainly at centre half as well.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. What about the Hearts camp? Adam Binney was out there today to find out the thoughts of Stevie Naismith.
Kilmarnock and Hearts will contest the first of 4 Viaplay Cup quarter-finals tomorrow night. So I'm at the Orium in Edinburgh to hear from the Hearts camp ahead of the big match. The big news coming out of Hearts this morning is, of course, the fact that the club have agreed to extend the contract of Cammy Devlin, keeping him at Tynecastle until at least 2025. So he was on press duties this morning, and his message to the Hearts fans is to stick by him and his teammates through this tough run of games where they have lost 5 out of their last 6.
Just stay with us because, you know, we're working so hard. We've obviously got to rectify that into performances, and that starts tomorrow. We've got an opportunity to take Hearts back to Hampden, and that's an experience I've had in my first season, and I know in that change room we're all desperate to bring that back to Hearts. So we're working so hard. We believe so much in our coaches and what they're bringing to us, and us as players are doing everything in our power to turn it around.
It's a perfect chance for Hearts to try and rectify their poor form as of late. They're just 1 win away from a trip to Hampden for the semi-finals of the Viaplay Cup, but standing in their way is the formidable side at home, Derek McInnes's Kilmarnock, who have already knocked out the holders of this competition in the previous round. And like many others who travel to Rugby Park, Cammy Devlin is not a fan of the playing surface.
Yeah, to be fair, there's no point saying it doesn't affect it, because it definitely does. I think even the Kilmarnock boys will probably tell you they don't like playing on it, but at the same time, it's for their 11, for our 11, it's the exact same for both of us. So you can use it as an excuse if you like, but it's the same for every player that's playing. Obviously, it affects your touch, it affects the speed, it affects everything, to be honest.
It's been over a decade since Hearts were able to taste domestic cup success. They've come ever so close in that interim period, reaching a multitude of semi-finals and finals. The manager, Stephen Naismith, fell just short as a player, but he's hoping to be the one to return silverware to Tynecastle, this time as manager.
The day-to-day and the week-to-week, in terms of signing a new contract, playing X amount of games is one achievement, but if you want real success, and that's defined by winning trophies. As a player, fortunately, I managed to do that, and I know what it takes, so hopefully us as a squad can do it.
Well, it's amazing what a cup run can do. It can transform your season. It can certainly take the heat off you. Stevie Naismith is going through a huge learning curve. This month is massive, as well as that quarter-final against Kilmarnock, Ross County, then the Edinburgh Derby, and then after that it's Celtic at home and Rangers away. What a month that is.
Yeah, he's got a very, very tough run. This is a big game, I think, for Stephen and Hearts during the week. I think if they can win this, I think it takes a little bit of pressure off them in terms of the league campaign, a bit Hampden, but if they lose this, they go to Ross County, and then the next 3 games are Hibs, Celtic, Rangers. So tough run of games, needs to pick up wins. 5 defeats out of the last 6, not acceptable for Hearts, a club that size. And I think that the fans will not be happy the way the team's playing at the minute.
Yeah, and in contrast to that, you're quite happy with Nick Ball. That's the new thing.
Yes. Money Ball. No, I watched the game. I watched it on Hibs TV on Saturday and thought they won the game pretty comfortably, to be honest. Really excited with the 2 strikers. Adam Lafondra, I think he's 36. I can't believe he's 36 years old. I think he's a terrific player. He looks as if he's 26. He's still quick. He's very, very clever. Him and Venti for the second goal. Great striker play. A little flick round the corner, takes a touch, buries it. I thought the 2 of them caused St Johnstone problems all day. Boyle on one wing, he played Tavares, who was pretty poor and come off. He's got Johan there, and he's got Christian Doidge if he wants to mix it up and go a little bit more physical up front. So I think in that front area, Hibs are stacked at the minute. I think they've got goals in them. and they played in the front foot. They created 5 or 6 good opportunities and scored 2. St Johnstone were poor. They had one chance. I think Marshall had a good save at 1-0. Apart from that, I thought they were really poor. Fear for them, to be honest. But Hibs, I think they look good. He's dropped into a real good run of games. You know, he'd Kilmarnock, and then he's got, you know, that game on Saturday against St Johnstone. He's got Kilmarnock away, and then, you know, he's got 2 home games to come up as well, Dundee and St Mirren. So listen, all things are good at the minute, but you know, it's a big game during the week against St Mirren at home.
Yeah, and of course there was a great occasion for young Rory Whittaker to come on, 16 years and 44 days. He certainly enjoyed his moment, and the manager said that there is a clear pathway for other youngsters.
Yeah, I think young players at the football club and young players in and around, you know, the area that maybe choose a different club over coming to Hibs. I think, you know, today was an opportunity to show that there was a real pathway into the first team, and Rory more than deserved his opportunity. I saw him play against Rangers last week. I was very impressed with him.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. And someone said to me as an interesting start, he said, you know, and I'm not saying whether it's factual or not, I'm sure some former managers will contest it, but, you know, Nick Montgomery is one of only a few managers who come into the job at Easter Road and they're automatically gone towards the youth and said, and chatted to them. The other person they said is Nick Montgomery's the first manager since Neil Lennon to go and chat to the youngsters and say, look, there's a pathway here that you're included. You've got to try and strive to be the best to get into the side.
Youngsters at any club or the future of the club, you've got to keep them on board. And this day and age, when the youngsters are in the teams that they're playing in, and they see all the foreign players coming in, they see guys coming in from down south into the first team, and they're still thinking they're going to get that breakthrough. They need a reassurance. They need a reassurance from the manager that if they're good enough, they'll get a chance. Forget about all these signings that are coming in. If you show me that you're as good, you'll be playing, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to keep them on board. That's why we're losing so many down to England. You know, a lot of the English clubs are just handpicking them and going, and the young boys are just saying, well, I'm not getting a game here, I may as well take a chance somewhere else. So,
or more money.
Exactly. So the young players like that getting a game shows all the other players that he's hanging about with that if he gets a chance, I'll get a chance.
That was one.
I'm going to hang about.
That was
Was he one of the ones you were talking about last year? I know you said.
No, I don't know that. He's very young, that boy. But there was last season I was very disappointed with Lee Johnson. He never gave some boys an opportunity. Listen, they got into the Youth Cup. I think they played Dortmund, they put out Nantes, Maeda, they won the Reserve League the year before, which doesn't happen very often, and he never really played, never gave any of them a sniff. He was bringing guys in from England down south at 18, 19, who in my opinion weren't any better than what he had on his own doorstep. So I was really disappointed, so I'm really pleased that Nick Montgomery is, and listen, you've got to earn it. Managers want to play young players, but you've got to earn it. You've got to be good enough, you've got to be ready, and fair play to him for throwing a 16-year-old in.
Yeah. So what, there's nothing better.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great. It's more satisfying for a manager.
A young player come through and then, you know, go on to do good things. You take the club take a certain amount of pride, the fans take a certain amount of pride in it as well. I give Van Poches his debut at Ibrox and he never looked back, you know, at 17, 18, and with some good ones with Ollie Shaw, Fraser Murray, and you want to give them the opportunity, Pete, and some take it and some move on, but it's what Nick's done is, as the boys have touched on, he's let the rest of them see that if you can perform at a certain level, you're going to get a chance. Yeah. And that's all you can ask for.
Well, if you look at the batch that they produced, you know, with the old days there with yourself, Whittaker, Rory, Brown, Thompson, Gary O'Connor, Derek Ryan, it was a magnificent crop. You just wonder if they've already shown that, and as you mentioned there, they were playing and knocking out teams in Europe, playing in a big game against Borussia Dortmund. You just wonder if there's a manager who's brave enough to say, well, I've got this little bit of mix of quality here.
You have to. I think you've got to tap into that. Yeah. I think it's important for clubs like Hibs, Hearts, even for Celtic and Rangers to produce your own players and let the public see, let the supporters see that the academy system is working.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of pressure on managers. I think that's the catchphrase every season now. Barry Robson, was he under any great pressure? A lot of people were suggesting he was. They still couldn't get a win despite an impressive display against Eintracht Frankfurt, but it all came up roses against Ross County at Pittodrie. This is what the manager made of it.
I think a lot of people get carried away when you are playing games, you don't win them and you miss some of these chances, and it makes it look like, oh well, maybe they're not playing well, but we are. It's just that when the goals go in, everybody's got a different perception. So listen, we're not like carried away. We win a game at home, and that's a really good side, and we need to go and perform against these. So
it's a good win, Ruffy. I mean, Miofsky, good goals.
Yeah, well, everybody that sits over there had the managers at the door, you know, on the Friday. Not Tom, wasn't he, Tom?
Lee sat in that seat, I'll tell you. The only difference was obviously better teeth, more muscular, six-pack, and he was just, he's under pressure, and I thought, this is McManus.
This is the seat. You've got to have an opinion in this seat.
Yeah.
You know, over there, Ruffy just...
Ruffy sat in that chair for 10 years and he's happy.
Yeah,
vanilla ice cream.
It's the intellectual side of it. This is the experience, you know.
I think he knew he was under a wee bit of pressure with that game. If Ross County were to win that game, all hell would have broke loose, you know. So, no, I always like it when a manager gets a wee bounce, because we are all very hard on them, and it's good to see them, you know, getting a win, and that you can tell the pressure's off and you can look forward to the next game. But no, his big players come up with the goods. 2 strikers played particularly well. We hadn't seen them for 2 or 3 weeks. They hadn't been creating chances, and any chances they got, they did well. But if you're winning 2-0 at home, you know, you expect to kick on and have a good result. So it just sets them up for the next game.
Yeah, well, the next game is against Ross County. I'm going to go up there to Dingwall to see it Wednesday night, because I really don't have any mates.
Private jets.
Honestly. Honestly. Can I just say I am of the old school journalists who didn't care where they were going on the rota. You followed Scottish football, you've got to get an appraisal of every team, Neil.
You do, yeah.
And Ross County against Aberdeen will be a totally different game this time, and I think even Malky Mackay concedes the players won't need to be lifted after a 4-0 trouncing.
You know, we can see there's glaring mistakes. The goals to us efforts, and you know, look, we were really poor decisions at the goals today. So no, it's got to, excuse me, effectively cup quarters final Wednesday night to get to Hampden. So I'm not needing anything to lift them for that. There's a nobody's disappointment, and that'll be tonight.
It's going to be huge for them. There's a chance to go to Hampden in a semi-final, and of course Ross County's history will tell you they know exactly what it takes to win silverware, and this is going to be a big one for them against Aberdeen. Well, what about Dundee, Kilmarnock? Dundee, I think maybe Josh Mulligan will be thinking he's cost his side, you know, 2 points. They could have had all 3. They looked good to start with.
Yeah, it's one of the ones, you know, we're still looking at it. They tackled 2 and 3 times, and I don't know if it was a straight red card. I thought a yellow card. I think Dees had not the same sort of a tackle late on in the game, and it was only a yellow. So I think 2 yellows would be justified for me, you know, but I think Kilmarnock were disappointed losing that late goal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a strange one. Dundee look okay, the side that Tony's put together.
Yeah, I thought, I still think they might struggle, you know, as the season progresses. But are
they in your bottom 2?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how we all change week in, week out. I think I had St Johnstone and Livingston maybe toiling. Who's the other side that you see?
St Johnstone.
St Johnstone. Yeah, you?
Yeah, I think St Johnstone and Livingston. I think Dundee will be okay. I think they've got that buzz of coming up. I think they've got that, you know, enthusiasm. They're used to winning games last year. They've got a bit of grit. 10 men for 60 minutes, come back and score in the last minute to get a goal. A lot of energy, a lot of legs in the team. Could be doing with a goal scorer. Maybe it'll be Rudden. Maybe he gets a run in the team now and scores. But I think they look pretty good. I think they'll be all right, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to change, you know. I've made a prediction. I don't want to swear like as the season goes on. I've been impressed with the way they've played, you know. But they're not winning enough games for me at the minute, and there's going to be stiffer opposition to come as we go along. I thought it was a red roughy. When I saw,
it off, kind of side came in.
Yeah, and he sort of, you know, caught him high on the leg, and he was reckless. You know, it was like almost like he was out of control really. So I can understand why the referee, even after going and having a look at it, stayed on with the decision.
Yeah, Derek McInnes was speaking today because, of course, that quarter-final coming up against Hearts.
I think all 8 teams will see it and believe it. Certainly we do. We've got to try and see the bigger picture and visualise the fact that we could win this. You know, we felt that, and I'm sure some teams have got more difficult ties than others, but I think every team
all Premier League teams now, when you get to this stage, every team will dream it could be their opportunity this year.
Yeah, who have you picked to win it now? Because
I know it's
a tough call now, isn't it? It's not straightforward. Rangers, and only because they're not firing in all cylinders.
Well, I'm looking at Hearts, and I know they're not playing well. They always seem to get to a semi-final, whatever year it is. They seem to be there. And then they make a pig's ear out till get the final.
Sort of football term. See how you lifted them up there and then belted them down.
So I think they will get the semi-final, but I don't know. It's I'm sure the sponsors will be looking at all these games, going, "Oh, please, like a couple of the big ones go," because we always get into that scenario. If it was two of the smaller clubs, we start going, "Oh, should it be at Hampden? He's got to take it somewhere else." So I hope it's relatively teams that get the final are justified.
So who's going to win it then?
Who's going to win
it?
I'm going to go Hibs.
You're going to go hit the high beast to win it? Oh, there's a shout.
I'm going to go Hibs as well.
Are you going Hibs?
Yes, I like Hibs. I like them front four, front five. I think they'll cause teams problems. Clean sheet at the weekend. I've got momentum building. I'll go for Hibs.
I may as well go mental. I'm going to go. Listen, it's the League Cup. I'm going to go St Mirren.
Aye?
Yeah, I'm going to go St Mirren. I like what he's doing. I like him as a manager. I like the way his team plays, and he's got a nice little mix there. I'm thinking of myself.
Are we picking a team without Rangers being in it, or are we just? You don't think Rangers will win it?
I don't think Rangers will win. I
do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think they'll be too strong for the rest.
You go for Rangers?
Yeah, I'll go for Rangers. Yeah.
Right. Okay. There you are. That's the scores from the weekend. Here's the table. Here's how it all looks. After the weekend, St Johnstone, now at this point, Stephen McLean will be hoping that they are not marooned at the bottom, because if there starts to be a gap building up there, it becomes ever so difficult week in, week out to motivate the players. And then there's just a clutch of teams as ever in this term that can suddenly a surge of 1 and 2 wins can propel you away for a wee while.
Yeah, listen, I don't see Aberdeen been down there for too long. I think they'll start climbing the table. Obviously in Europe that's going to be difficult to play Thursday, Sunday, but Dundee, Livingston, St Johnstone, I think that'll be our bottom three, and it's only 2 for 3 for those three.
Yeah, the predictor scores, guys. We've had. I had a good weekend. I was quite happy with. I moved up 38 places, so I'm in 120. Alison's in 115. Ruffy, you're at 69, which is honestly, you couldn't make that up, even if you tried. And you'll probably, to be fair, you'll probably stay there for the rest of the season. And he's settling for that. Exactly. Patrick Mullen is our journalist. Tam's at 140, and Adam Binney. Are we still on air? Yeah.
I've dropped 100 places since I went on holiday. I thought you got a signal there.
You're being murdered. But I got a couple of exact scores as well, which propelled us up. That's what happens, Ruff. You can get up there. There's a prize going off to Proud Scott, who won the month of August, and September's getting pretty close for the monthly prize. Listen, you can still get in. Even if you start now on the Predictor, go to the PLZ Soccer app, download the app, and you can get into Predictor and follow the process with our partners at Super Brew, and you'll enjoy it. It's good fun, and it keeps you interested in the games as well, and you don't need to spend money. It's as simple as that. It's absolutely free. So on that basis, just out of curiosity, I know you've picked Rangers. Do you think that could be, is that the saving grace, just buying him time along the way? I mean, he's already stated before Batiste that he said, this is a group that I expect to get out of.
The Europa?
Yeah.
Well, they've got Sparta Prague and Limassol as well as Betis, so they've got off to a great start. I expect them to beat Limassol home and away, so that would give him 9 points. I think he will get out of the group. I think that was a really good start for him, beating the top team in the group.
Does he have to win the League Cup?
He does, yeah.
Yeah,
no question.
Okay, or he just gets heavily criticised again.
Well, where do you go from there? With no Celtic, everyone's looking at Rangers now saying, you should win this. Listen, it's never a guarantee, Tom. You know what I mean? But it would be a real saving grace for Michael to go bump, win a trophy, and then build from there. Whether he gets that opportunity or not, who knows?
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing for you. I mean, I watched the Ajax derby against Feyenoord. Ajax, the game was abandoned.
Yeah, crowd trouble?
Crowd trouble, flares, everything. It was just...
They're getting battered at them.
Absolutely. They were losing 3-0 at the time. And
Feyenoord were?
Ajax, right, okay. And,
but I think they're bottom half of the table.
I think
They've started terrible.
13th, and I think it's not going according to plan. So they were far from happy with it. You know, I was there to a convention, and we nipped over and did the tour. And interestingly enough, something I didn't know was the tour guide said, here are the European Cups in the museum. It was amazing. And he said, and this European Cup here is, you know, something that's interesting to Scottish people who come over. He says, because this is the actual European Cup that Billy McNeil lifted. And it was because Ajax won it three times, 3 years in a row, and they get presented with it. It's quite unusual, isn't it? Yeah, and what a team, the history of the club, the players that played there, you can think they just roll off the tongue, the brilliant players that played for Ajax.
Well, they were the dominant team in the early 70s, Pete, you know, not just the club football, but world football as well, roughly, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they sort of set the template for, you know, the modern game as we view it now, you know, and Cruyff, and then, you know, your Koemans and, of course, Guardiola. Cruyff had a huge influence on him as a player, you know, so we're still seeing that sort of legacy now in modern football.
Yeah, and you get through, they were showing the video, Rafi, of some of the goals. Ibrahimovic's goal, when he beats about 19 players and the crowd behind the goal.
Van Basten's
overhead kick. Van Basten's overhead kick, Bergkamp. I mean, the list is incredible. Another player that I liked, I don't know if you remember him, Rafi, Jari Litmanen, do you remember him? He went on to play, I think he went on to play for Liverpool, but in Kluivert, when they won the cup in 1995.
Well, Neil says, I mean, Dutch football was where to be. You know, they were playing the football everybody wanted to see. It was total football, they called it, wasn't it?
Yeah. You would have played against that then.
Yeah, we played against them. The
what was it like?
Reps and the Niskins.
Just totally new to you, like, you know what I mean?
They were comfortable on the ball. I mean, I always look at foreign teams, and when I see the goalkeeper kicking the ball out and the centre half pulls it down with his feet and passes it a bit, that's what they were like. They were so comfortable, you know. There was no panicking, no heading the ball 50 yards back into the other. It was always pulling the ball down and everything. Superb.
Yeah, can I ask you, and this is probably pertinent to where we're going to go before the show finishes, got to get your thoughts on it. I watched Spurs against Arsenal, and at times I'm sitting there watching the game and I'm thinking, oh, please stop playing the ball out from the back, because Arsenal are pressing you. And it just became harem-scarem. Yeah. You're thinking, you know, if Jesus scores a second
he
one,
scores, how does that look? Do you know what I mean? And I see it a lot, Peter, not just in the Premier League, but I see it in, you know, Championship, League 1 and League 2, and even in Europe at times, where, you know, they seem to be obsessed with this, you know, playing out from the back and creating overloads. I watched Brighton do it against Man United a week before, and they were fantastic at it. And he obviously wants Spurs to play that way. They ended up getting a brilliant result, but it could have been so different. That was a big moment in the game, and it wouldn't have been a good look. Let's put it that way. Maddison's picking up the ball in his own box with his back to goal. He's not aware of where Jesus is. He's nicked it. He's got the whole goal to aim at, and it's a really bad miss. But he keeps believing in that, you know, policy of playing that way. It's not for everyone, you know. And when it comes off, it looks brilliant. But when it doesn't come off, it's this risk and reward type of football.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be a massive fan of it myself.
But the strange thing is, you've mentioned there's a lot of clubs in every division, and here in Scotland as well, we have that same situation. Sometimes the players are not capable of playing it. And the other thing about it is, there is a narrative here of, this is the light, the way, the truth, this must be the way, everybody must take the DNA of Pep and play this way of football. Now, I don't know about you, but good footballers can play a pass into the middle and then offer themselves as options, rather than playing it along your 6-yard box and hoping the keeper doesn't make a big deal of it.
I watched the game the other night, Championship game, and it was a home game. The home team striker, the centre forward, who they're relying on for goals and really good play. I'm not going to name who it is because I don't want to come over all critical. In the first half, he touched the ball twice, and they were a goal down. So whatever they're doing, Peter, wasn't working. Do you understand this? You know, trying to play through the lines or trying to create overloads in wide areas and play it from the back. And the one player that you really want on the ball as much as possible is the least. And this is sort of the modern way. But as a striker these days, you'd be so frustrated with that. You know, when it works, it looks great, but you know, a lot of times it doesn't work, and you have to play another way.
Yeah.
At the early days of the passing out for the back started, we did a game at St Mirren. I don't know if you remember it. We were live at St Mirren, and Jim Goodwin was in the middle of the park, centre half, and somebody gave him the ball, And I actually think he shouted help. Because it's no comfortable position for him, and there was nobody coming to help him. There was nobody, breaking off or coming short and everything, and that was the start of it. That was the starter. And then we saw Man City at Celtic.
Yeah.
Remember the European game where they were passing to each other at the 6-yard box, and then just working their way up the park.
It's fine. It's fine if you somebody said to me the other day, it's fine if you're the better team and you've got the players that can play out against a weaker opposition.
Yes.
But if you've got, I couldn't separate Arsenal and Tottenham. And if you've got a situation where suddenly you increase the percentage of you having to ride that roller coaster to get out, sooner or later you're going to come a cropper.
Pick you off,
and really good teams will pick you off.
To be honest, the first 30 odd minutes it was all Arsenal, and then the character Spurs showed was tremendous. They had a really good spell 10 minutes before half time and they get the goal. But by that stage the game could have been all over people. Because Arsenal were bombarding them. And just the goal, and it's like everything else in football, when the goal that Spurs, the equaliser, changed the psychology of the game completely.
And here's what Ange and Arteta made of it.
I think they are a really good side. They are really well coached. You can feel the spirit within the team. You can feel the energy within them. But I think it's 6 games is too early, I think, for everybody to discuss what we're going to be.
I couldn't see, but I had no idea about the handball rule, mate. I really don't. I saw the one yesterday, Wolves, and it just seems like if it hits your hand, it's a penalty, and then at other times, if it hits your hand, it's not a penalty. So I got no idea. I've never, it's the one rule in the game I just don't understand.
Well, I thought it was a Stonewall penalty, but the other thing I was going to say to you is, and it relates back to our game here in Scotland, we've seen Celtic come a cropper with 9 men on the park against Feyenoord. They've got Lazio coming up. Do you think we're about to see the way Brendan wants his side to play? I know they like to play that passing game out from the back. In European football, he came a cropper the last time he was here. I think the best performance I've seen from Celtic under Brendan Rodgers was Manchester City.
They're a good win. Good win in Anderlecht as well.
Yeah, good win in Anderlecht.
I think it's a good group for Celtic. They're all good teams. I think Atletico will be predominantly the strong team. I'm not convinced everyone's saying the result, Lazio and Atletico drawing, was a good result for Celtic. I'd prefer one team to run away with it, and then Lazio, Feyenoord and Celtic to fight it out for second and maybe the Europa place. But they're home. Lazio at home. It doesn't matter who Celtic play in the Champions League night. I think they've got a great chance, Pete, and they're just starting to find a really good bit of form there as well. So, despite the disappointment of Feyenoord, they're still well in the group.
Yeah, and still, did you say third or second that you thought?
Listen, you'd beg the hand off for second, wouldn't you? You know what I mean?
You're looking at it right now.
They need to win this game to have a chance to finish second.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
must be Lazio.
So as you can see there, a win against Lazio put them above them. You think that's
a must? If Celtic have got any aspirations of getting out of the group in terms of the top 2, they've got to beat Lazio at home. I think Lazio will be the weakest team.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to beat Atletico home or away, Ruffy. I watched them dismantle Real Madrid.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I saw that one, and I think the history of them playing in the Champions League, they're one of the hardest teams to beat. They don't lose many goals at home. And certainly with that kind of result behind them, they must be playing well.
Yeah, I think the other great thing about it, the reason why I love a Monday is we have a right good noise up with each other. There's a bit of tit for tat, but as I see things like Sheffield United losing 8-0, I think, there's
Hecky at the wheel.
There's another manager in a shaky peg, and I'm thinking we're going to lose them eventually. We're going to lose them somewhere along the line.
Listen, I think Newcastle were brilliant. I think Sheffield United were really poor on the day. I think 8 different goal scorers, which is one of the an amazing start. Incredible. I think 3 of the subs come on and scored. So listen, it was a great performance from Newcastle. Sheffield United, I think he lost 2 of his best players in the summer, and I don't think he's been given a lot of money to spend. I think Sheffield United have been in the bottom 3, but I think with owners nowadays, as soon as they drop into that bottom 3, the panic button usually gets pressed and they try something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, he's got a very, very limited budget, to be fair to him, Ruffy. Chelsea have spent over $1 billion, and they are I just can't work it out. I mean, even their number 10 is a shadow of the player that Celtic played against in Mudryk.
Yeah, the money down there is absolutely incredible. The money that even the bottom 3 get that come up are incredible. Last week we were talking about Celtic having 70 million in the bank. They're buying players at 70 million. every team in that league. So, you know, it just shows you the money that they've got.
What would you have done with £1 billion, Neil?
I'd have run off. I'm retired.
Exactly. If
I'd have been in his suitcase every night.
Robbie would have been the assistant going.
Shooting the fast sketch.
By the way, just on that point, I mean, you look at that Chelsea side, if you could think of £1 billion, if there was, when you look at the last season alone, could you come up with 5? It's a tough call. Could you come up with 5 players that you would have signed for Chelsea based on the players that have been signed elsewhere that would have absolutely altered that side? There's a belter of a question to finish with.
Edison. I'd have signed him.
40 million or something. Great buy.
Good player.
If you got £1 billion to spend, Harry Kane.
Is it exactly?
I tell you who I would sign.
No brainer.
Yeah.
I tell you who the biggest bargain I think in the last 3 years, Trippier for Newcastle. I think he's phenomenal. What a player.
Yep. So
guys,
are you having Trippier?
Yeah, he's a great player. Yeah. I mean, Harry Kane. You look at Chelsea. I watched them last week against Bournemouth. They're not scoring any goals, Pete.
Yeah.
They lost at home to Nottingham Forest. They've lost again at the weekend, and they've lost the drew 0-0 with Bournemouth. They're not scoring any goals. And goal scorers are the premium. When you've got that amount of money, you got to go out and look. So City go and get Haaland.
Yeah.
For 64 million. Barcelona buy Lewandowski. You know, Bayern Munich go and get Kane. You know, if you're really serious about something, and listen, Jackson's a good player, Sterling's a good player, but this guy, you want the top end goal scorers because they're the ones that make the difference.
Yeah. So that's 100 million. Kane, you've got change. You've spent 40 million in Maddison. You
go and get the best goalkeeper out there, Oblak at Atletico Madrid or somebody like that. You know,
right. That's 3.
That's centre half.
Centre half. Well, we've got Thiago. He's still playing great. Thiago Silva, like, you know, who's the best centre half out there? Van Dijk, you know, somebody like that.
Yeah. And then one more.
One more?
Yeah.
Me boy O'Hara at St Mirren.
He's trying to tell you when to sign your boy.
Modric.
Yeah.
He's signing
Bellingham.
Thank you. I was just waiting on it.
Bellingham, oh my goodness. I watched him against Scotland. I just thought he was wonderful. Absolutely. What's a player he is.
Yeah.
20 years of age. What's a player.
Yeah. So that's not a bad 5, Ruffy, if you were looking at it. That's a good 5. Might throw in Trippier as the final one.
And very underrated.
So it's a big week, quarterfinals. We've all picked ours. You can pick yours as well, who you think's going to make it to the semi-finals at Hampden in the League Cup. We'll be covering all of them, and of course you can get all the latest breaking news on those games by downloading the app, and if you hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, you'll get the reports from all those games. Anybody who's going up to Dingwall on Wednesday night wants to travel up in the same car as me, just for company, that would be great.
I drove to Liverpool with him and his choice of music was horrific, so I would not travel Dingwall. Oh, I was don't know.
Pop quizzes and everything.
Yeah,
it's pop quizzes and all that. Just
the last
quizzes himself.
Can I tell you something?
Weirdo.
I'm sorry for I'm sorry for trying to make you enjoy yourself on the trip down. You can go yourself next time. By the way, can I just say something to you? We did the last time I was in the car with Ruffy and myself and Ruffy and Gordon Smith. We went to Inverness. Do you remember? It's the last time you actually went to a ground without a starter, main course and suite. But it was hard going, wasn't it?
It was. Just the memories, you know, that. What was the biggest goal he scored? It was a European game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Against Juventus?
Yes.
He scored that one.
He had a great career, Gordon, but fortunately he brought all the goals on his iPad.
Yeah.
So we were able to watch them.
And we just started talking about that goal as we left Glasgow. And as we came into Inverness, he just cut inside.
Smudger, good player, good laugh all the way up, and well, it looks as if I'm going on one then. Thanks to Neil Lennon, brilliant to have him with us on the Monday alongside Tam. Great to have you back. You enjoy your holiday?
Yes, good holiday.
Yep. Just you and the boys.
Me and the missus.
Wow. I've lost a tenner.
Looking well in the photographs.
He posted them. Yeah. Ruffy
something Instagram or something.
Ruffy follows her on Instagram. Anyway, thanks to Ruffy, who might be with us next week, we don't know, and also to Tammy Maz. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. For myself, Peter Martin, thank you very much for listening on the podcast. podcast, and of course watching the programme as well. We'll see you on not only the women's football show, which Alison and Kerry are with us this week. We've got Straight Talk. We also have the journals coming on Thursday, and we'll be back with Lee McCulloch on Friday. Thanks for watching.